Early in Maharashtra, in Bid, where Pankaja Munde has won her election, she'd stake claim to be Chief Minister for the BJP if the party invited her. Of course, she's now speaking to my colleague Sharad Kumar. Let's listen to what Gopinath Munde's daughter is saying.
I have with me Pankaja Munde. Pankaja ji, you got a very tough fight here in Parli.
What?
You got very tough fight here in Parli.
I always knew it was going to be a tough fight because it was going to be very, it was going to be a triangular fight, and we were fighting Parliament plus the Assembly. So I knew it was going to be a tough fight for me, not for the Parliament.
Just because the fight come from family, that's why it become very tough.
Yeah, maybe we have similar attitude towards the election, the way we follow our things. So maybe.
It is perceived that you are very close to Shiv Sena. Now BJP falls out of majority. What will be your role?
See, whatever role my party leaders offer me, I will perform that role. Unfortunately, we could not reach to the clean majority. So we should still form government and take our allies, further step we should take. I am not yet spoken to any of my leaders. I will be going to Mumbai and then we will have a meeting and decide.
If Shiv Sena has to play a crucial role, you seem to be a very important candidate for Chief Ministership, doesn't you?
I don't think that way. Whatever my party will choose the candidate for CMship, that will be the candidate for whatever allies comes.
What will happen now? Because no one has got clear majority in Maharashtra. So who will form the government and how it will be formed?
We should form the government, and we have been fighting for years, and we don't want people to go back in the hands of people who have not taken care of them for years. So we would like to form government, and other things we'll decide in the core committee meeting.
Pankaja Munde now very circumspect. She ran into a lot of trouble, Siddharth, when she suggested over the weekend that she's very happy being Chief Minister if she were offered by the party, whereas BJP seniors in Delhi reacted saying, but nobody's made you the offer, you're way too inexperienced.
A few days ago, she was being far more mature about this and saying whatever role they give, and I'm working for the party and all that. And suddenly she had this kind of, I don't know, suddenly she came out in the open as almost said, I'm interested and I'm willing. And that couldn't have gone down very well, because while she has delivered the OBC vote, she has worked really hard. She has proved to be a real chip of the old block.
And hugely popular as well.
Hugely popular, but she should be building on that rather than being in a hurry. So
I think she got forced or coerced by her supporters into making that ill-advised claim.
You've got to give some this allowance for emotions and sentiments and kind of hype. But the wise thing would have been, and she can still go back, and I think we can see that happening, is to go back and say, whatever the party decides, I'm willing to also be a simple party worker, and then take your this.
I want to go across also to Salman Soz of the Congress party. Salman, where's Rahul Gandhi at this time? Salman, do you hear me? Give me a moment. Let me fix that audio. Salman, do you hear me?
Yes, right now I can hear you.
I was wondering if you know where Rahul Gandhi is this afternoon?
Yes, I do.
Wow.
He's visiting flood-affected, cyclone-affected people in Vizag.
Because
Yes.
people outside the Congress office were protesting, saying, Priyanka Lao, Congress Bachao, not Priyanka Lao, Desh Bachao. They're saying Priyanka Lao, Congress Bachao. What is the Congress making of these slogans right outside the Congress party headquarters, made not by the BJP but by Congress supporters?
Look, Congress is a big tent with lots of opinions inside the party, and I think people are welcome. Our party workers are welcome to raise any kind of slogan that they want. Of course, what they want is, they are worried because, of course, now this is we've lost. I would say badly in Haryana, and in Maharashtra also we haven't. We've lost. But having said that, if you look at the Maharashtra results, for example. The Congress and the NCP are pretty much where the BJP and the Shiv Sena were 5 years back, and this is after 3 terms in office. So I would say that I've been on other shows and I've heard that Congress has been decimated. I would say it has been defeated, yes, but decimated, absolutely not. Not in Maharashtra at least. In Haryana, if you look at the Haryana results, BJP was at 4 last time, right? 4. They've done very well this time. And we've been reduced to 14. I would say yes, big defeat, but decimation, I don't think so. So we can build on this, but we need introspection. That's what I would argue.
But given the fact that you're now down to 19% vote share, which is 2 less than last time, after having contested on many more seats than you did the previous time, almost double the seats that you contested the last time, which essentially shows that the Congress's vote share is on a sharp decline, and the Congress now faces the possibility of facing a similar route or a similar future in Maharashtra as the party had to face in West Bengal and in Tamil Nadu. Okay, we've lost that connection with Salman Soz. We'll try and set that right in just a moment from now. The Maharashtra Congress chief has resigned, and Siddharth, as we travel through Maharashtra, the one overriding theme was how poorly the Congress fought this campaign. It's not about victory, it's not about defeat, it's about giving up even before the battle has begun.
Yeah, and that's really, it's shocking, really. You had somebody like Mr. Narayan Rane, quite an old veteran war horse, but he just couldn't rally the troops. I don't think the High Command gave the kind of support system that it could have. I have a feeling, and this is what I've been hearing, that they also had some paucity of funds. So they kind of had come to terms with the fact that after 15 years...
No, because the Congress ground worker and the Congress candidate doesn't believe that they have a paucity of fund. They say that there is corruption. They say that in the BJP, most of the fund actually reaches the candidate, whereas in the Congress, those who collect it keep it to themselves or don't plow it back to the field.
So maybe whoever had the funds, I don't know, I mean, we are not privy to that, but whoever had the fund didn't think it was an investment worth making in trying to boost their candidate.
Returns were too low.
Yeah, and there was definitely they were disheartened, there was low spirits, and I'll be very honest with you, I'm surprised they're getting 45. I really didn't think so, and this shows that the Congress vote, just like the NCP vote, is still intact more or less.
No, but Dr. Lahiri, Modi has a slogan, it's his pet slogan, the RSS drives this very hard, Congress Mukt Bharat. If you look at the big states of India, there is Karnataka where the Congress still rules. Now that Yedurappa is back in the BJP and the BJP performed well in the Lok Sabha elections, the BJP is bouncing back in Karnataka. There is Himachal Pradesh where you've got a Congress government. There is Assam where the government is riddled with all manner of problems. So essentially there are very few states still left where the Congress rules. So this whole notion of a Congress Mukt Bharat could actually come true in 5 years from now.
You know, Rahul, that very well said, because as I'm very fond of saying that we were expecting a two-party system to emerge. Congress was a given, and the question was which other party will emerge. Now it seems BJP has emerged, but Congress is going. Mind you, in Maharashtra what has happened, it was also a fight for seniority in the Congress-NCP coalition. Congress fought 170 seats last time and got 82. And NCP was given only 113. If you recall, the fight between NCP and Congress was also like BJP and Shiv Sena, how many seats to get. And look at the results. NCP has proved that if they're almost equal to the Congress.
No, but what this shows is if the both of them had fought together, and if there'd been a split in the BJP and the Shiv Sena, the Congress NCP could potentially have held on because their cumulative vote share is 39%. The BJP's vote share is only 27%, and the Shiv Sena is at 20%. So if the NCP and the Congress had fought together, this election they could have still won.
But I'm sure political scientists and journalists like, senior journalists like Siddharth will be writing on it, that if BJP Shiv Sena had not fractured, because they were together, NCP was with Congress.
So no, because Salman Soz is now back with us. Salman, Narendra Modi says Congress Mukt Bharat ka sapna. Now if you look at the major states of India, Assam has all manner of problems. In Karnataka, now that Yedurappa is back with the BJP is bouncing back. We already saw that in the Lok Sabha elections. In the Lok Sabha elections also, we saw in Himachal Pradesh, another state where you rule, the BJP did really well, as also Uttarakhand. Now, this whole notion of a Congress Mukt Bharat, which would have seemed inconceivable before May, might actually come true 5 years from now, at least as far as the major states of India are concerned.
I think before Modi ji talks about Congress Mukt Bharat, he should think about Congress Mukt BJP, because even in this particular election, in previous elections, there are lots of Congress pagodas who've gone over to the other side and helping the BJP
They're dumping you because they think that you're not the winning ticket. They're dumping you because they think that the BJP ticket can help them win.
Look. Yeah, let me explain something to you. I don't know if you heard what I had said earlier because we got disconnected. Did you hear what I had said earlier about?
You can go on, make your point
where
again.
The Shiv Sena, BJP were?
Make your point.
Yeah. Okay, I'm not sure if you heard it. So what I'm saying is that if you look at the Maharashtra results, yes, BJP has done well. Congratulations to them. At the same time, Congress and NCP today have similar number of seats as Shiv Sena and BJP had just 5 years back. And this is after 3 terms of incumbency. So I don't really think that anybody who's kind of writing off the Congress forever is correct. I think it is a defeat, but not a decimation by any stretch of the imagination. In Haryana, BJP had only 4 seats last time, and now they have 48, or they're leading in 48 or 49 right now. So if they can come back from 4 and win 48 or 49, there is no reason that the Congress,
because the BJP has the charisma of Narendra Modi. They're riding on the Modi bandwagon. I attended some Rahul Gandhi rallies in Maharashtra. When he's speaking, people are looking the other way. They're completely disinterested in what your star campaigner is saying. Compare that with a Modi rally. When Modi speaks, people are latching on to every word he says. He energizes the audience. Whereas for a Rahul Gandhi rally, it almost seems as if it's a ritualistic requirement for them to be there, which is why those workers are there.
Rahul. I know, you know, everybody else knows, Mr. Modi does talk.
Just give me half a moment. LK Advani is speaking at this time. I'm coming right back to you, Salman.
प्रदेश में पुराना संबंध फिर से कायम हो जाए तो अच्छा होगा।
एनसीपी के साथ कोई गठबंधन की
नहीं, मैं नहीं मानता हूँ, उसकी संभावना मुझे नहीं लगती। लेकिन शिवसेना और बीजेपी दोनों जैसे पुराने साथी रहे कई सालों से, वह संबंध बना रहे और उसके आधार पर दोनों मिलकर के सरकार बनाए तो अच्छा हो।
क्या आप थोड़ा सा पाकिस्तान की तरफ से कुछ जो है अटैक?
That's LK Advani making clear once again that he absolutely did not support the idea of BJP and the Shiv Sena splitting, and he still feels at some level, Dr. Lahiri, that if his party asks him to, he's happy to play a role in mediating and mending fences with the Shiv Sena. That aren't happening, but in his heart, the evergreen politician still hopes for it.
See, politicians never retire in India. In fact, I was just thinking, like Jack Kennedy, shall we ever get a prime minister? Rajiv Gandhi was an exception. A veteran politician who will rise to the peak of his career in his early 50s. I think we're a long way off. You still
no, it
have
might
to
happen.
be,
Why give up?
Why
assume it won't happen? It might still happen.
Yeah. But I think BJP is one move that I liked. I think there was a decision, I don't know whether RSS or BJP, that retirement by 75. And I hope, like retirement age is going up in Japan and Germany, the retirement age for politicians will be slowly brought down. 75, then 70, then 65. We have enough young people to take over.
Rahul, did you notice that there was a kind of, I felt Mr. Advani was kind of looking back because the alliance had come together when he was still very much...
And he opposed it even after the announcement was made, which Amit Shah and gang didn't like at all, that he was speaking publicly.
And he's kind of being
Rohini Swami, she's got Prithviraj Chavan, who's won in Karad South, former Chief Minister, now of course bested across the state. Let's listen to what Prithviraj Chavan is saying.
I'm joined here by the Maharashtra former Chief Minister, Mr. Prithviraj Chavan, sir. You have won in Karad and in a huge margin. Would you say that you passed in Karad but you failed in the state?
Well, I think Karad has been traditionally a Congress constituency. It has returned to Congress MLA for last 7-8 times. late Yashwantrao Chavan represented this constituency. And it's a traditional stronghold of Congress thought process, Congress model of development. As you know, this constituency has returned a Congress MLA continuously. And I was sure of winning here. Although the MLA who was representing Congress party for the last 7 years, 7 terms, turned a rebel and put up a strong challenge. Also, one another congressman on the eve of the election joined BJP. They also put up a strong challenge. But people have appreciated the development work that we did in this area.
At the same time, sir, what would you say went wrong in the state?
I have accepted the responsibility for poor performance of the Congress party. We will not sit together and analyze what happened. Fatigue of 15 years could be one reason. But we will analyze in detail after I go to Mumbai.
After talking about divorces between BJP and Shiv Sena, now they're looking at each other, the NCP also. How do you look at this whole thing that is working out now?
No, I think BJP has failed to secure a clear majority, absolute majority. There is instability in the state. We'll go discuss, consult with my colleagues, consulting our leaders in Delhi, and we'll see what Congress party will do next.
And last question, Modi has done his damage in Maharashtra, do you think?
I think he could not inflict as much damage as he did in Lok Sabha time. We have come up substantially from a Lok Sabha result, but not to our expectation.
That's Prithviraj Chavan, mighty relief. We caught up with him during the campaign. There was a lot of tension in the Chief Minister's Secretariat at that time about whether or not he'd win. Mind you, he was up against a very strong rebel candidate, a 7-time winner from that seat. This is a Congress bastion, of course, South Karad. His father won on that seat and the Congress has won 10 times, losing only once on the South Karad seat. He's won with a healthy margin as far as he's concerned. His political izzat is intact, even if the Congress has been bested in Maharashtra. We're slipping into a break. We return on the other side. Stay with us. We are told that in about 15 minutes from now, BJP President Amit Shah, the architect of this solo act, will be reaching the BJP headquarters where he will address party workers. We'll, of course, cut live to the BJP headquarters. For that. Hectic parley is currently on to try and find a way for the BJP and the Shiv Sena to come together to form the next government. There's a lot of opposition at the state level amongst the BJP workers and leaders. They don't want an alliance with the NCP, even though some central leaders have suggested it. The Shiv Sena is demanding a huge pound of flesh, and we've got a lot to be excited about and to keep talking about over the next couple of hours while the BJP and the Shiv Sena try and find a compromise formula. What will it be? Here is Devinder Fadnavis, BJP State Unit Chief in Maharashtra, making it absolutely clear that the next Chief Minister will be from the BJP and there is no question of the BJP not forming the next government in the state.
स्वतंत्र निवडणुका लढवून देखील आमच्या जुन्या टॅलीपेक्षा 2.5 ते 3 पटीने आम्ही पुढे जातो अशा प्रकारची परिस्थिती हळूहळू उद्भवते आहे. जवळपास महाराष्ट्राच्या सगळ्याच भागांमध्ये भारतीय जनता पक्षाला चांगलं यश मिळालेलं आहे आणि मी विश्वास व्यक्त करतो या महाराष्ट्रामध्ये भारतीय जनता पार्टी निश्चितपणे सरकार स्थापन करेल, भारतीय जनता पक्षाचा मुख्यमंत्री होईल आणि निश्चित एक चांगलं सरकार या महाराष्ट्राला, एक पारदर्शी प्रामाणिक सरकार या महाराष्ट्राला आम्ही देऊ.
That's Devinder Fadnavis saying that the next Chief Minister will be from the BJP. We saw also images of Om Mathur, trusted aide of Amit Shah and Narendra Modi, feeding laddus to Devinder Fadnavis. Is there a message that these laddus carry the sweet blessings of both Modi and Amit Shah? We will have to wait till 6 p.m. to find out, but we're slipping into a quick break. News and updates continue when we come back on the other side. We're expecting Amit Shah, the BJP president, to reach the party headquarters. Word at 11 Ashoka Road is that he will reach there by 3 p.m. He'll address party workers the moment he gets in. Let's see what Amit Shah makes of the Maharashtra verdict. Does he concede that this is not as comprehensive a victory as he'd hoped for, or does he still believe this is Diwali come early for the BJP? Find out when we come back.